Okay, let's do the procedure. Block. This is first what I do.
These were the opening moves to Magnus Carlsen with black versus Jose Martinez with white. It's titled Tuesday, 23rd of April, and this game is destructively unbelievable. Not just what happens in the game, but what it now represents. Is Carlsen getting ready to do the procedure? More on that later. So after this pawn push by Magnus, the St.George defense, Josbum takes the center. He's an online beast, Peruvian Grandmaster, and Magnus now plays pawn to c ships. What a horrible opening. Bishop d3, d5 now comes, and Josbum takes the space with e5. Magnus striking back. It's move 4. He's still not developed a piece. We get c3, supporting the center. Finally, Magnus brings a piece into the game. Knight e2. Why not on f3 here? Well, after takes, pawn recaptures, we see one of the points. Because after Magnus goes here with the bishop, he'd love it if that knight was here. He can get the exchange going, weaken the center, then play the light squared structure. But now f3 is available. Probably you should bounce back with the bishop like this. But bishop d7 played, knight b to c3 and e6. That bishop entombed. It's like an awful French defense. White in the driver's seat. So castles played. We get knight g to e7. Another horrendous bishop now stuck at home on f8. Bishop e3 very natural, and h5 from Magnus. He wants to secure the f5 square for his knight. He loves these tricky kind of structures. Queen d2, good developing move. Always connect your rooks, and rook c8 takes the open file. Rook ac1, fighting for it. Queen b6, eyeing some dark squares. And now I'm drawing on the board a couple of nice waiting moves here. But Josbum goes bishop f2 instead. Also a decent move. He can kind of do what he wants. He's got time. The position's relatively closed. He's got the space. And g6 highlights some of Magnus's problems with development, with the bishop. But by putting all those pawns on light squares, at least he unlocks dinner for two with Danny Wrench. Side quest completed. Now he's preparing bishop h6. So that's why rook c to d1 played. Anticipating this, wasn't strictly necessary. You could have already gone here with the bishop. But f4 is Jose's plan. And now look at this from Magnus. He drops back to f8 with the bishop. That is a man without a plan. And when I was rehearsing to say that, it reminded me of one of the most famous palindromes, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Let me know if you know of any chess palindromes. I wasn't able to think of any. Now we get king h1, prophylactic chess, coming off the exposed diagonal. h4 from Magnus to secure this outpost just a little bit more. Is this on the way? Well, Josbum doesn't want to find out. He goes h3. We get knight f5 coming into the board. Finally some counterplay. And with d4 under fire, it looks like you need to play bishop takes on f5 straight away. But not played. This is where Jose Martinez is so good, especially in these online blitz battles. He goes rook d to c1, setting a cunning trap. Because if you execute on this threat to win a pawn, well, you walk into this pin, which is absolutely nasty, and there's a lot of good ways to take advantage. Knight a4 is one, but even more swashbuckling is knight takes on d5. Pawn recaptures. Okay, thank you very much. What's your point? Well, here it is. You take that piece off. Now the queen recaptures. You take here, whoops, not there. Take here with check. Bishop takes back, and now you've opened up the checking diagonal to win the queen. It's getting fossilized. This is one line. There are variations, right? But this is the general theme. You're just not in a position to go pawn grabbing. So Magnus does develop a piece, but those bishops looking very passive over here. Now we get rook fd1, more nice centralization. Queen d8 from Magnus, maybe looking for b5, but now the character of the game is changed because Jose takes that knight on f5. Pawn recaptures and knight g1. This is high level grandmaster chess. I mean, looks so simple when you see it, but it's wonderful maneuvering. Magnus now bounces back out with his queen because the position's changed. Knight f3, look at the squares it now eyeballs. Is this pawn going to become weak here on h4? Center also defended, and Magnus now goes knight a7. Weird looking move, but opens up his rook here and this horrible bishop on d7. He wants to activate the minor pieces, so queen e3 played, coming off the x-ray with the black queen on a5. Therefore, when knight b5 comes, you can take and the queens aren't leaving the board. So instead, Magnus takes that knight, takes the knight with the pawn here. Queen takes preferred by the engine, but this one's selected. We've just seen the rook takes there with check. Bishop recaptures and now pawn to a3, just saving that one. Magnus goes bishop d7, re-entering the game. We get rook c1, Jose first to the open file here. The only open file on the board, which makes it all the more precious to fight for. b4 played by Magnus, looking to liquidate that doubled pawn, but there's a problem. That queen on a5 is unprotected. Bishop e1, a great move to exploit it. So is queen e1, not as precise, but still good. And now top moves here, queen b6 or queen d8, adding defense here and that sort of thing. But Magnus goes queen a4, looks so natural, but watch how Jose pounces on this imprecision. Because he starts with takes on b4, bishop recaptures, hitting his queen, so queen f1, bishop b5 from Magnus. Look at those snipers, look how he's activated, looks amazing, right? Where do you go? If queen d1, queens come off, better for black than what we see in the game. If queen g1, very passive, but no, Jose finds a move. He's so tactically astute. He plays rook a1, great find. You take my queen, I take yours, and that's how the game plays out. Magnus has got nothing better. Of course, if he takes the rook, queen recaptures, lovely right triangle, you're not even winning the queen. So this is how things proceeded. We get bishop f8. Why not bishop e7? We'll still check. Bishop blocks and bishop takes here. You're in a world of pain. Sure, you can do this, but the end game is just hopeless. Look at all these pawns. Wrong color square for this bishop to attack. Passed pawn running. Knight going to do well in this semi-closed position. So coming back here, bishop f8 played. Now we get check. The king comes to d7. This pawn drops, it's just carnage, and now the best move is bishop g7, rook swap, but okay, you're not losing material, but it's awful, it's a lost endgame. Magnus goes for tricks, however, rook g8, the time ticking down. He's got a threat here, so the g file blocked with this bishop. Now the bishop slides back, maybe looking to head into e4. We get rook d8 check, king goes, and now bishop e7. And what to do? This is just too much of a problem pin. The game's gone. Bishop f1 from Magnus, looking for a counter shot, but knight g5 simply, blocking the way here. And what to do next? Takes, you lose your rook. Don't take, move the rook somewhere, you lose a bishop here. It's just hopeless. Now, why is this so special? Well, look at this. Jose has now won the last 3 games in a row against Magnus Carlsen in Titled Tuesday. My man Jose heading for an adoption over here. Magnus needs to get that procedure done. Block him, delete him. No more adoption games for Jose. Just kidding. Maybe if Magnus played a proper opening, then they might battle a bit better. I hope you enjoyed this one. Smash subscribe if you did, and check out the video on screen for another epic game of chess. Cheers.